For many, the moment they began to wake up didn't look like a beam of light. It looked like 2020. It was as if an invisible hand pressed pause on the world, forcing us into stillness and solitude. Streets emptied, calendars cleared, routines crumbled, and in that silence something ancient stirred, something the noise had drowned out for years. Some called it crisis, but for the soul it was a summons. Jobs were lost, loved ones transitioned, relationships fell apart or revealed their fault lines. And beneath it all was this low, haunting question: if life can shift this fast, am I living in alignment with what really matters? Mortality stopped being a distant concept. It moved into our homes, our headlines, our breath. And for many, this became the first crack in the lens, the one that made them question the blueprint they'd been following. Maybe you were always planning for tomorrow, deferring joy for someday. Maybe you were holding tight to roles that felt safe but hollow. Maybe you realized the life you built wasn't built around your soul. And in that moment, that deep, raw discomfort, the seed of awakening was planted. Because what is spiritual awakening, if not the moment your soul refuses to keep sleepwalking? The old lens didn't just break, it collapsed under the weight of truth. And for the first time, many of us saw the cracks in our own foundations, not to shame us, but to free us. The pandemic wasn't just global disruption, it was a global initiation. The earth whispered, "See what is possible when you slow down." And your soul responded, "I'm ready to remember." There's a moment in the awakening when the outer noise quiets and your own voice gets loud. Not the voice they trained you to use. The other one, the voice buried beneath performance and people-pleasing, now rising like a forgotten prophecy. For many, this unraveling began during quarantine, not just because the world slowed down, but because you did. The routine was interrupted, and in that break, you started noticing things you used to ignore. Your body, acting strange, exhausted, even after sleep, heavy in rooms where you used to shine, buzzing before a text arrives, crying without warning, your intuition, no longer subtle, picking up what no one's saying, sensing shifts in energy before events even unfold, dreams getting louder, symbols repeating, something deep within whispering, "Pay attention." Your emotions, once hidden behind roles, now refusing to be suppressed. The smile you wore so effortlessly started to ache. The title, the mask, the version of you that worked in public, suddenly felt too tight, too scripted, too not you. And then came the solitude. Maybe people stopped calling. Maybe you started declining invitations with no guilt, only relief. And maybe, in the silence, you remembered how much you'd been performing. This wasn't loneliness. This was initiation. Spiritual awakening will often feel like isolation until you realize it's sacred separation, a pulling back so your true self can finally emerge without interference. You weren't being abandoned, you were being unmasked. This is when the identity crisis hits, not because you've lost yourself, but because you're meeting your real self for the first time. The self that doesn't need to fix everyone else. The self that questions the family roles, the religious rules, the cultural assumptions. The self that says, "I am not here to play the part. I am here to be the truth." It's disorienting. You wake up not recognizing the life you built. You feel like a stranger in familiar rooms. You grieve versions of yourself you clung to, even though deep down they were never fully you. And here's the secret they never tell you. Awakening doesn't always look like bliss. Sometimes it looks like breaking. Sometimes it looks like forgetting who you were so you can remember who you are. Your body breaking patterns, your intuition breaking silence, your soul breaking free. You are not falling apart, you're falling inward. And in that sacred descent, your truth is waiting, not the polished one, the primal one. The radiant, raw, real one. The masks are coming off now, not to expose you, but to reveal you. Once you start questioning yourself, you can't help but question everything around you. The family unit, the job you gave the best years of your life to, the school system, the church, the government, the grind, all of it. It's like waking up inside a machine and realizing you were never meant to be the gear. You were always the spark. During the stillness of the pandemic, the veil lifted, and what we saw wasn't pretty. Families who lived under the same roof but barely knew each other. Children raised by screens, lovers turned into roommates, meals eaten in silence, hearts aching in separate corners of the same home. It wasn't judgment, it was truth finally turning on the light. For many, it was the first time they noticed. Work had stolen their presence. Busyness had robbed them of connection. The roles they played had replaced who they were. So when the world paused, the soul whispered, "Is this the life I chose, or just the one I agreed to while half asleep?" That question was enough to crack the spell. We began to ask deeper things. What is this race we're running, and who exactly wins? Is success worth our nervous systems? Are we really providing if we're too drained to be present? It was a holy disruption, not to destroy the system, but to expose what was never sacred. Even education came under the lens. Parents, once removed from the classroom, saw what their children were being taught, and more importantly, how they were being taught, not to think, but to obey, not to create, but to comply, not to question, but to repeat. And when the pulpits and pews went dark, faith had to become something you felt, not just something you were told. Many stopped outsourcing divinity. They turned inward and found that God speaks just as clearly in silence as in sermons. The systems that once told us who we were, what to value, how to behave, when to speak, started to feel hollow. And somewhere between the breakdown and the breakthrough, we realized no system is more sacred than the soul it's meant to serve. If the price of belonging is your peace, if the cost of success is your spirit, if the rules silence your truth, then maybe it's not you that's broken. Maybe it's the system. That realization brings heat. Sacred anger. Not just at the world, but at yourself, for staying quiet, for giving away your power, for calling it normal when it never felt right. But that fire, that's your power returning. Each question you ask is a spark. Each truth you reclaim is a flame. And together, we are burning the blueprint and building something worthy of our souls. This isn't rebellion, it's remembrance. We are not here to fit into systems that need us small. We are here to question, to unlearn, to live wide awake. Awakening is not all bliss and instant enlightenment. In fact, one of the most challenging phases is what comes after the initial shock of awakening, the period of anger, grief, and emptiness. Imagine a mighty oak tree struck by lightning. The old bark is charred and falling away. The insides are exposed. This is where many souls found themselves, raw, angry, grieving, and floating in a void of not knowing what comes next. This anger is not destructive anarchy. It is the rage of a soul reasserting itself. You might have felt it, the outrage at societal injustices, the anger at having been kept so busy and distracted that you missed precious moments. Perhaps you felt anger towards yourself, for staying in a toxic situation too long, for ignoring red flags your intuition raised, or simply for not seeing the truth sooner. This anger can be terrifying because spiritual circles often tell us to be positive and let go of anger. But here's a secret. Anger, in its pure form, is a powerful ally on the spiritual path. It's an alarm that goes off when something is profoundly wrong or out of alignment. Sacred rage is the force that says, "No more, I deserve better, the world deserves better." When honored and directed, it becomes the fuel for change. The key is to transmute anger into awareness and action, rather than let it fester into bitterness. Many found healthy outlets, journaling furiously, screaming into a pillow, creating art or music filled with raw emotion, marching in protests for change. In embracing this sacred rage, we paid homage to our true feelings and to the injustices that needed addressing. Then comes the void, that in-between space after the old has burned down and before the new has been built. If you have felt empty, directionless, or numb after all these realizations, know that you are in the void, and it is actually a sacred space. The void is the quiet after the storm. It is often accompanied by grief and profound disillusionment. You have peeled away the comforting lies and lost the identities and beliefs that once gave you structure. It's normal to feel as if you're free falling in darkness. This stage can feel like depression or deep fatigue, a spiritual exhaustion. You might withdraw from others, finding it hard to relate to people who haven't been through what you have. The world might look bleak or fake. You see through the facades, but you haven't yet found what is real to replace them. This is the dark night of the soul, spoken of by mystics, a period of isolation and unknowing, where one's inner light is gestating, even if it's hidden by shadows. Here is an important truth to remember in the void. The breakdown is the prelude to the breakthrough. The void is not emptiness, it's preparation. Just as winter seems barren but is necessary for spring's rebirth, the void in your journey is a fertile emptiness. In this space, you are meant to rest, reflect, and release. Think of a seed in the soil. From above, nothing is visible, but below, the seed is absorbing water, swelling, and cracking open to eventually sprout. Your time in the void is much like that. You are recalibrating. Your soul is quietly weaving new understandings from the threads of all you've been through. It may be uncomfortable. Humans are used to constant doing, and the void demands being. You may feel stuck or worry that you've lost your spark, but you are not lost. You are in transition. Grief is a natural companion here. Grief for the old self, the old dreams, the world you thought you knew. Allow yourself to mourn. Cry those tears. They are holy water, carrying away the last attachments to what no longer serves you. You might grieve relationships that fell away when you changed, or opportunities you can't return to, or simply the innocence of not knowing all that you know now. This grief is not self-pity, it is self-honoring. It shows that you loved parts of your old life, even if you had to leave them. Honor that. Light a candle for your past if you must, and then turn toward the darkness of the unknown future with the courage that has carried you this far. Know that in the void, you are not alone. Many others are in that space, quietly rebuilding from the inside out. It's okay to not have answers. It's okay to feel angry one moment and profoundly empty the next. This is the alchemy of awakening. The old elements dissolving into a dark brew from which the elixir of a new life will emerge. Trust this process. The stars, after all, are born in the darkness of cosmic night. Your new self is being born in this sacred darkness too. Have patience, dear soul, and a profound self-compassion. The void is the womb of the new you. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the darkness begins to recede. You start to notice changes in yourself. Reclaiming truth is not a thunderbolt moment. It is the gentle rise of the sun within you. One morning, you realize that the anger isn't as scorching, that you feel a glimmer of hope or curiosity about life again. You may catch yourself smiling at a thought or dreaming of a new possibility. This is the sign that your authentic self, the one that's been waiting patiently under all those layers, is now emerging. You begin to rebuild, but you do so ever so carefully, piece by piece. Only now you choose each piece with intention. You keep what resonates with your truth and discard what doesn't. Your values, once inherited or automatic, are now consciously chosen. Perhaps you realize that creativity and family mean more to you than status and salary, so you restructure your life to reflect that. Maybe you discover a deep calling to help others, leading you to a new career or volunteer work that aligns with your soul. You might return to certain things you loved as a child: painting, singing, writing, exploring nature, bringing those joys back as pillars of your new life. This phase is about sovereignty, reclaiming the throne of your own life, recognizing that you are the author of your story from here on. A sovereign self is one who answers to their own inner truth above all. You stop betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. You set boundaries, saying no to what drains you and yes to what nourishes you. You may find that some relationships naturally fall away during this time. Those that thrived on the old you, who played along with certain dynamics. Let them go with forgiveness and love. In their place, you will attract new kindred spirits who celebrate the real you. As you stand in your truth, you'll notice synchronistic connections, mentors, friends, even romantic partners, coming into your life almost as if the universe is responding to the frequency of authenticity you now broadcast. Reclaiming truth also often brings a renewed or transformed spiritual connection. Having questioned dogma and external authority, you might now feel closer to the divine than ever, but in a way that is personal and empowering. Whether you call it God, Goddess, the universe, source, or simply love, you sense a guiding presence in your life. Perhaps you develop a daily practice, journaling with your higher self, meditating, praying, pulling oracle cards, or simply walking in mindfulness. These practices aren't obligations. They are joyful lifelines that keep you aligned with your soul. You realize your life itself is the sacred text, and truth reveals itself in your heart when you listen. The sovereign self bows to no tyrant, not the tyrant of public opinion, not the tyrant of old conditioning. Instead, you co-create with the universe, listening to your intuition, trusting the wisdom in your own soul. As you emerge, you may look remarkably the same on the outside, same face, same name, but those who know you will see a new light in your eyes. You carry yourself differently. This is the posture of one who remembers their divinity. You remember now that you are not here to fit in a box or play a pre-written role. You are here to express your unique essence. You understand that the challenges were teachers, the pain was a purifying fire, and the void was a sacred womb. With this understanding comes a profound peace. It doesn't mean life will never have problems, but your relationship to them is different. You no longer see challenges as punishments or signs of unworthiness. You see them as part of the ebb and flow of growth, opportunities to deepen your truth or course, correct if you stray from it. Now you step forward on your authentic path. Perhaps you feel inspired to help others who are awakening, or to create art, or to simply live quietly but truthfully as an example of an awakened life. Big or small, your authentic presence is a gift to the world. By living your truth, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. This is how we collectively build a new reality, not one dictated from the top down, but one blossomed from the level of the soul up. Each person reclaiming their truth adds to the mosaic of a more conscious, compassionate society. Feel the liberation in this. The weight of pretending is gone. The heaviness of others' expectations is lifted. You are free. Free to be who you truly are, a human being and a soul, intricately intertwined, learning and expressing moment by moment. You have reclaimed your life as your own. You wear your truth openly now like a glowing aura, and it protects and guides you. This is the reward of walking through the fire and darkness. You have come home to yourself. Take a deep breath and feel the journey we've traveled, from the shattering of all you thought was real, through the dark night of the soul, and into the light of a new dawn. Questioning reality is a courageous act of creation. It is how you midwife your own rebirth. As we close this exploration, remember that you were never crazy for feeling that something was off. That uneasy feeling, that sacred dissatisfaction, was the compass of your soul guiding you toward truth. Now you stand more sovereign, more authentic, and more alive than before. Dear soul, this is your invitation to continue living in that truth every day. The journey of awakening is not a one-time event, but a continual unfolding. Keep questioning, keep feeling, and keep aligning with what feels real and right to you. When new challenges arise, and they will, meet them as opportunities to deepen your authenticity. When you feel lost, return to that inner voice that first whispered to you in the silence. Trust that you have all the inner resources you need and that the universe is conspiring to support your growth. Now, I invite you to reflect. What was the moment that sparked your awakening? Was it a loss, a chance encounter, an insistent quiet longing? What beliefs or norms have you begun to question? What truths have you reclaimed for yourself? These questions are your journal prompts, your meditation themes, and if you feel called, your conversation starters in the community of fellow seekers. We are all the conscious observer, witnessing ourselves and the world with new eyes. And as we each awaken, we uplift the collective. Remember, you are not alone. Thousands, maybe millions, are walking this path alongside you, each in their own unique way. By sharing our stories, we light the way for each other. If this message resonated with you, consider joining this growing community of conscious observers. Leave a comment below sharing your own awakening moment or realization. Your story might be the guiding light for someone still in their dark night. And if you know someone who is questioning their reality or feeling the stirrings of change, share this video with them. Sometimes a timely message is all a soul needs to take the next step. Thank you for spending this time with me in reflection and cosmic wonder. Your journey to an authentic life is the greatest gift you can give to the world. As you step back into your day, carry this affirmation in your heart. The void is not emptiness, it's preparation. I am allowed to question everything, and I trust myself to find my truth. Keep questioning, keep shining, and remember, you were always meant to awaken. Till next time, stay curious and stay true to your beautiful soul. If you enjoyed this journey, please like this video and subscribe to The Conscious Observer for more in the Spiritual Awakening series. Together, we light up the dark by questioning the world and ourselves in the most soul-deep ways.